What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Leo coming to you guys with yet another video. Coming to you guys today with the reaction video. The title of the video is Why Liv Morgan Should Face Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 40. I want to make sure I'm giving the proper credit here to Sports Fanatic. Shout out to you. You brought this video. I came across this video and I wanted to react to it because I feel like Liv Morgan is definitely one of those type of women that I think has an opportunity to win the Rumble. I'll probably talk about it a little bit more later after the video and get my thoughts and opinions and everything like that. But I definitely think she is one of those type of women that you can't really necessarily sleep on. That should always be considered a possibility and always be considered a potential threat to win it every year. I think she's one of those type of women that I think a lot of people want to see that's pretty much in the conversation of winning it every single year. So hopefully this year they do pull the trigger with her and actually, do something with her, do something big with her. So I'll give you guys my opinions afterwards. But let's get into the video right now.
Guys, today we're talking about Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley and why they should face off at WrestleMania. We're going to go over the past, the present, and the future. So when it comes to Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, there's definitely a lot of parallels between them. With both superstars debuting in NXT, with Liv in 2015 and Rhea in 2017. With both of them having a large amount of experience on the former black and gold brand, with Morgan wrestling the likes of Ember Moon, Aaliyah, and Bayley, with Rhea taking on the likes of Bianca Belair, Io Sky, as well as Aaliyah also. The current Women's World Champion would also go on a tear in NXT UK, becoming the first ever NXT UK Women's Champion in 2018, while Liv was making a name for herself as a member of the Riot Squad, with them having high-profile matches such as the 6-women's tag team match at Evolution against Natalya, Sasha Banks and Bayley, as well as Super Showdown 2018 against Ronda Rousey and the Bella Twins, which didn't end too well for them. From there, we go to 2019, where Rhea would go on to have an exciting feud with Shayna Baszler, which actually ended with her becoming the new NXT Women's Champion, which was a massive deal at the time, while Liv Morgan would face the likes of Charlotte.
That really was a massive deal for Rhea Ripley that year, just because she definitely was like one of my favorite things to watch in NXT during the time that she was there. The match that she had with Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's title was great. She just came in. She was just. I feel like she was kind of like a Stone Cold in a sense, just because she played that tweener role very well. Like, she didn't care. She just wanted what she wanted. She didn't care if anybody got in the way. She didn't have no problem putting them down. I think that's how she really started to take off as a star. And I feel like they when she came to the main roster, she did do some great things. I mean, she did win the Raw Women's Championship later the next year after dropping the NXT Women's Championship to Charlotte. So I think that was a great way to kind of introduce her to the main roster. It's just sucked the way they kind of played up everything after that.
Flair and Ronda Rousey in early 2019, before going on to be featured in several vignettes in late 2019, before returning at Lana's wedding with Bobby Lashley, which was definitely something. Moving on, we headed to WrestleMania 36, which was definitely a show we won't forget. We had Drew McIntyre win the WWE title, Bray Wyatt and John Cena had a wrestling match, and we had Rhea Ripley defending her NXT Women's Championship against Charlotte Flair, which didn't end too well for the Nightmare, as she lost that very night. But someone who didn't lose
That was very questionable, though. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like that was a very questionable decision, because literally when Charlotte won the title, in my opinion, it did nothing for the NXT brand. It really didn't benefit her at all, NXT at all. Like, all it did was just give another accolade to Charlotte, if anything. I feel like would have been better if you would have just let Rhea retain that, making her a bigger star. I think that's what they really should have done. You pretty much just kind of. It was lazy booking, in my opinion. It was lazy booking.
Was Liv Morgan, picking up a well-earned victory against a former women's champion in Natalya.
Yes, she did.
However, Fast forward 1 year later to WrestleMania 37, which again was an interesting show. We had Logan Paul stunned by Kevin Owens. That's some good foreshadowing.
Exactly. Good foreshadowing, because now we're getting a match between the two this Saturday at the Rumble.
We had Roman Reigns do the infamous double stack pin. And we had Rhea Ripley defeating Asuka to become the new Raw Women's Champion. It was a surreal moment for the Aussie superstar, as 1 year removed from losing her title to Charlotte Flair, she was able to bounce back and once again reclaim the throne with a win. However, her soon-to-be tag team partner wasn't so lucky that night, as even though the recently reunited Riot Squad had a good showing against Tamina and Natalya, unfortunately it wasn't meant to be that night, as they were not victorious. 1 year later, we move on to the lead up to WrestleMania 38, where Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley decided to team together, facing off against the likes of Shayna Baszler and Natalya, as well as the women's tag team champions Queen Zelina and Carmella, which they even scored a victory over and were added to the multi-women tag team match on the grandest stage of them all. And the idea of them...
Yeah, I mean, they did, and I feel like the team was great. I feel like a lot of people didn't really think the team was going to be interesting at all, but it worked, because you have Rhea Ripley with the display power of strength and aggression. You have Liv with the speed, and she has an aggressive side too that she just needed to tap into, but if Willem given the chance, she could be just like that. And I feel like it was a great tag team, because they kind of complement each other. They bounced off of each other. So I think it was a good tag team nonetheless. It just sucked that it didn't really get to last as long as a lot of people thought it could have been, because I think they could have just went a little bit further as a tag team before they ultimately decided to part ways with the tag team and everything like that. So, I mean, and I've just noticed this, like, Liv Morgan has competed at WrestleMania, right? But in the tag team, ever since WrestleMania 37, because 37 she was literally with Ruby Riott, then you had 38 with her and Rhea, and then you had Raquel at WrestleMania 39, and now we got WrestleMania 40 coming up very, very soon. So it kind of is, I wonder what she could be doing. I want to see them kind of shy away from putting her in tag teams. I mean, I get it. A lot of people are okay with just seeing their favorites, be there, and that's totally fine. I just feel like for her, I want to see what she's able to do outside of just being in a tag team, kind of just being on her own and helping her develop as a singles competitor. So hopefully that's something that they do try to do with her upon her return.
Them as a team was a great idea, because they were both fan favourites. So to see them join forces with Liv's speed and Rhea's strength, it was a good combination. Now, a lot of people thought that the newly formed team were going to become the new tag team women's champions.
Yeah.
But again, it wasn't in the cards, as Sasha Banks and Naomi picked up the victory, which left many fans disappointed due to the popularity of the newly formed team. But it wasn't over yet, as they got another opportunity on the night after WrestleMania, with both teams giving it their all. However, in the end, it was Liv who ultimately took the pin for the team, with Rhea not being too happy about the defeat. But it all came ahead to the rematch against the tag team champions, in again another great match, as even though Sasha Banks and Naomi defended their titles once again, this time it was Rhea who took the pinfall, and this was the breaking point for the team, as Rhea Ripley blindsided her now former tag team partner, and gave her a riptide for good measure. This meant Rhea Ripley was now a heel. And again, this was something people enjoyed from our old days of NXT UK, that vicious streak. So from that point on, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley would go on to have several matches in WWE, with both superstars picking up big victories over one another, with them even having a big 6-man tag team match at Hell in a Cell 2022, with Rhea's recently joined group of the Judgment Day, against the recent pairing of Liv Morgan, Finn Balor and AJ Styles, with the Judgment Day reigning victorious. Throughout the rest of the year, things were going well for the former tag team singles careers, with Morgan not only winning Money in the Bank, but also cashing it in that same night against the beaten down Ronda Rousey to become the SmackDown Women's Champion. And even though she would end up losing the title to the former champion in October 2022 at Extreme Rules, her reign was still enjoyable. She had great matches with the likes of Natalya, as well as Lacey Evans, as well as teaming with the Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair to take on Carmella and Natalya. And she had that awesome contract signing segment with Shayna Baszler, with the Queen of Spades being put through the table. Whereas on the other side, Rhea was enjoying her time as a new member of the Judgment Day, antagonizing the Mysterio family on several occasions. We all know how that turned out.
Yeah, we know how that turned out. But Rhea, she was just choking Dom out, and they didn't get up joining her. And the fans went berserk. They went berserk on social media.
As well as having a great feud with Beth Phoenix and Edge, and beating up Akira Tozawa. Poor Akira, what did he do? So next, we move on to the 2023 Royal Rumble. And this is where things get interesting. So, Royal Rumble 2023. Definitely a show we'll never forget. We had Cody Rhodes starting his journey to finish the story. We'll get there at some point. We had Sami Zayn turning on the Bloodline in what was an incredible moment. And we had the Eradicator Rhea Ripley winning the Royal Rumble and punching a ticket to Wrestlemania, which she started from the number 1 position as well. And who was entrant number 2? That's right, Liv Morgan. It was really fun to see the journey they both went on throughout the Rumble.
Yep.
From both of them dealing with Dana Brooks, to Rhea getting neckbreakered by Emma, to Liv getting pummeled by Bayley. And even the ending of the Rumble, with Asuka spraying Liv with her mist, and even then, Liv was nearly able to take down the Nightmare, with Rhea hanging by a thread. And when it comes to the final 2 in a Rumble, it always comes together down the line. Like Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker from the...
Got a point. A lot of the times when a lot of the people from the final 2 are in the final 2 of the Rumble, they usually end up facing each other at a Mania in the future. That's usually what happens. If they're like the runner-up and the winner, they always find some way back to each other at some point down the line at a WrestleMania. Batista and John Cena. He just said it. Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. There have been exceptions. Randy Orton and Triple H have found themselves facing each other at numerous WrestleManias over the course, or even other pay-per-views, but mostly WrestleMania. And we necessarily haven't seen that happen, I would say. In the last, I think for the Women's Rumble we haven't. Because I think the last 2 in the 2018 was Asuka and Nikki, and that didn't happen, I think, because of her injury, so that couldn't happen. But think about the final 2 for the 2019, Charlotte and Becky. I mean, they were involved at WrestleMania 35. They were involved at WrestleMania 35. And then you look at WrestleMania, 38, who won for that year. We had Ronda and literally Charlotte, who were the final 2 in the Rumble, and then faced at Mania. But Charlotte was the champion at that time. But we're going to get back into it.
2007 Royal Rumble, to rivalries at 2 separate WrestleManias, to Batista and John Cena, from 2005's Royal Rumble to WrestleMania 26, to Randy Orton and Triple H, from Royal Rumble 2009 to again WrestleMania 25. I just feel like Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley makes the most sense because of the story. And I know, a lot of people want to see Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley, the man against the Nightmare, the first woman to main event WrestleMania against the longest standing survivor in a Women's Royal Rumble match. And they both did get victories at last year's WrestleMania, with Rhea dethroning her nemesis in the Queen Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch alongside Lita and Trish Stratus taking down Damage Control. So,
and yeah, I get it. Becky is like one of the biggest women wrestlers, and this could be one of the biggest matches they could put on. My thing is like, I feel like Becky is, to me, at the point that she doesn't necessarily need to be in the main event, title picture. I mean, there's still ways you can have her be involved in a big way. I mean, you got Jade Cargill coming in possibly at the Rumble. I think that's a feud that you could possibly set up for Becky. I don't know what her status is going to be if she returns. Maybe you want to do AJ Lee if they can keep her around at least till Mania. I think that'd be another good feud for Becky to keep her in a high profile storyline with her not necessarily being in the title. And I feel like if they were to do this feud with these two, I feel like it would be better if it's a non-title feud because I feel like they could make it as personal where it doesn't need to be revolved around the title. That's just my personal opinion.
So it would be a big time matchup 1 year later on the grandest stage of them all. But again, the history of Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, from being tag team partners to bitter rivals, and with the Eradicator taking out Liv on the July 24th edition of Raw, it adds even more fuel to the fire.
Which also, he just said it on July 24th. Yesterday marked 6 months since Liv was taken out by Rhea Ripley. I just want to put that out there. 6 months ago yesterday, from yesterday.
For Liv Morgan to win the Royal Rumble, I actually wouldn't mind if it was from the number 1 position, like Rhea's, so she can show that she's not just on the same level, but even further. And with her being sprayed by Asuka in the Rumble, it makes you wonder, what would have happened if that hadn't happened?
Yeah,
would Liv be champion right?
That's definitely like a what if for me. I was thinking about like if she didn't get misted by Asuka last year, I'm pretty sure the result probably would have been the same. But how much different would it have been if Liv didn't get misted by Asuka and Liv was actually able to see? Would she have been able to pull it off last year? I mean, I feel like the reason why they did that because they wanted Liv to look strong, and I feel like that's one thing I would say Triple H has kind of been trying to do is keep Liv looking strong, even in defeat. I mean, look what happened at the Rumble last year. Look what happened at Chamber. You know what I mean? Like she got taken out by 2 women who had her in a submission to where she had nowhere to go. She didn't tap out. She literally passed out, which kept her looking strong in defeat again. Then if you look at her in her tag team matches, she has been looking strong. She hasn't been the one taking the pin. If her team wins or anything that happens, she's getting wins. So I feel like you could play that into her story coming back, that she's a different character and everything that she's been through in the 6 months has changed her to be more aggressive, to be more motivated to where she wants to get to where she wants to be, and that is being a women's world champion and being the one to defeat Rhea Ripley ultimately.
Right now, and not Rhea? Also, it's interesting to mention that on the night Rhea won the title at WrestleMania, Liv Morgan lost her tag team championship match. So the parallels of one winning and one losing on the same night are still there. And don't forget Rhea did defeat her tag.
He's got another point, and I like that he mentioned that. When one wins, the other loses. Look what happened in WrestleMania 36. Liv won, Rhea lost. Next year, WrestleMania 37. Liv lost, Rhea won because Rhea won the women's championship from Asuka. Then if you go to WrestleMania 38, they both lost. Then 39, Liv lost, Rhea won.
Tag team partner Raquel Rodriguez. So again, Liv's motivation is right there. Also, I should mention that out of the 3 regular one-on-one matches they've had, Liv has won 1 and Rhea has won 2. So the odds are even more in Rhea's favour. But again, when it comes down to who should win on the night, it's a toss-up. Because if you have Rhea win, you can continue her dominant reign as champion, with her then having back-to-back WrestleMania wins, and proving who the weak link in the team really was. But if you have Liv Morgan win, you can tell the story of an underdog, who never had a World Championship match at WrestleMania, who never main evented the grandest stage of them all, who took defeats, who took pain and punishment, but ultimately never gave up, who went toe-to-toe with Ronda Rousey and defeated her not once, but twice. You could say that there's a lot of similarities between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Both former SmackDown Women's Champions, both showed their skills in NXT, and years later, both were thrown together, but they made it work. They grabbed the attention of the audience through their infectious personalities and their unique looks. And on the grandest stage of them all, they should do it one more time, but this time as champion and challenger, and as friends turned enemies. And yes, I know Liv is currently injured, But with the Royal Rumble a few weeks away, you never say never. So yeah guys, that'll be it for today, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you like the idea of Liv Morgan against Rhea Ripley? Or would you rather see big time Bex against the Nightmare? Let me know in the comments below, subscribe, and more importantly,
Yeah, man. While I'm at it, I'm gonna leave a like on this video, and I'm also gonna subscribe because I really did like that. I really did like that. But comment down below, you guys. I want to know what you guys have to say. Like, do you guys think that we could see Liv finally get her moment, and finally chase for the championship? Um, Me personally, I think Liv should win. I think my biggest gripe is I feel like I don't have a lot of faith in WWE to pull the trigger. That's just my biggest gripe. I want Liv to win. I think it would be great for her to finally get her a great comeback for her and finally be able to get revenge and finally be able to take that next step in elevating as a wrestler and performer and as a character, um, for sure. I do think this could be a great story. I feel like you can make a big star out of anybody. It's just really finding the right story for them and being consistent and good booking behind them. I think that's really what it goes to. And sometimes not everybody's the best in the ring, but everything's a process. Everything's a work in progress. You only time will tell. Like you have to continue to put work in. You got to continue to be able to want to succeed and perfect your craft to be better, to stand out from every other of your peers. So I think that's really what it comes down to. And I think Liv is somebody that I do think wants to do just about everything that there is to do to be the best that she can. And since she's been she took out almost like six she not almost but she got taken out 6 months ago. And I think she is definitely gonna come back. Hopefully, I do would love to see her potentially win it, because I feel like if you look at the past Royal Rumble winners, all of them have pretty much been big stars. All of them have pretty much been seen as main event talent already. They have been booked that way. And then there has been you know situations where I feel like all of them have been dominant up until them winning the Rumble. I would love to see WWE kind of change things up a bit and kind of have like an underdog win, someone that people wouldn't expect to win. We've seen Asuka when she was dominant going into it, she was undefeated. You had Becky when she was already very over and she was pretty much very dominant in the ring to an extent. You had Charlotte when she's Charlotte. She's one of the very best at what she does. So she won. Then you had literally Bianca, someone new, but somebody has been dominant in the ring, has been booked consistently. You've seen Ronda Rousey, very dominant in the ring, and a former UFC fighter. You have her win. Then you had Rhea Ripley win, who was very dominant in the ring and has pretty much you know, been dominant ever since then. Nobody has been able to lay a hand on her. Nobody has been able to defeat her. But Liv is the last one to say that she has been able to defeat her. And I would love to see that come back full circle and have her finally get her moment on the biggest stage possible. So we will have to see. But comment down below. Let me know, who do you guys have winning the Women's Royal Rumble? Do you guys think Liv should win? Or do you think it's a possibility that Liv could win? I would love to hear what you guys have to say. We're on the road to 50 subscribers, but the ultimate goal is 10K subscribers this year. I know we can do it as a wrestling community, so let's make it happen. I know we can all do it. But I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next video.